It started like any other evening. My wife, Chinyur, kissed me goodbye as she left for her late shift at the office. She worked as a marketing manager for a big corporation in Lagos, and honestly, her hours were often unpredictable. At first, I didn't mind. I trusted her. After all, we've been married for 5 years, and I thought we had a strong bond. But recently, things had started to feel off. She'd been coming home later and later, often smelling of unfamiliar perfume and acting distant. At first, I chalked it up to work stress. I was always supportive, brought her dinner when she stayed late, ran errands for her, did everything to keep things smooth between us. But the more time went by, the more I started to doubt her explanations. She'd often become defensive when I asked about her day or who she had been with at the office. It was subtle at first, but it left me uneasy. Then, one evening, it all came to a head. Chinyur told me she had a big presentation to prepare for, so she would be working late again. She kissed me goodbye, told me not to wait up, and left for work as usual. But that evening, something felt different. Maybe it was my gut telling me something wasn't right, or maybe it was the little things I had noticed over the past few weeks, the way her phone would beep constantly, but she would never leave it lying around, or how she would always rush to take calls in private. I made a decision that night. I couldn't just sit back and wonder any longer. I had to know the truth. So after she left, I grabbed my car keys and followed her. It wasn't easy keeping a safe distance as she drove, but I managed to stay out of her sight, even as she took a turn I wasn't expecting. She wasn't heading to her usual office building. Instead, she drove across town to an unfamiliar part of Lagos, a place I had never seen her visit before. My heart started to race as I followed her, the suspicion in my mind growing stronger by the second. Finally, she stopped in front of a small, upscale apartment building. I parked a little ways down the street, hiding in the shadows, watching as she got out of the car. She was dressed differently, sexier than usual, in a tight black dress that I'd never seen her wear before. She looked around nervously, almost as if she was checking to make sure no one saw her, before heading inside the building. I was stunned. What the hell was going on? This wasn't an office. It was an apartment. Was she meeting someone? My mind raced with thoughts I didn't want to entertain. Could she really be having an affair? I sat in my car for what felt like hours, waiting, my heart pounding in my chest. I had never felt so helpless in my life. I wanted to confront her right then and there, but I didn't know who she was meeting or what I would find when she came out. I had to know more. Eventually, my patience wore thin. I decided to take matters into my own hands. I got out of the car, cautiously walked up to the building, and hid around the corner. I watched as people came and went, and I began to wonder if I had made a mistake by following her. Then, an hour later, the door of the apartment opened. My breath caught in my throat as I saw her step out, but she wasn't alone. Standing next to her was a tall man I had never seen before, laughing and talking with her. They exchanged a kiss, a lingering kiss on the lips. I felt my stomach drop, my hand shaking. It was like a gut punch. That kiss, so intimate, so real, was the moment my world came crashing down. Everything I thought I knew about my wife, everything I believed about our relationship, had just shattered. My heart ached as I watched them walk hand in hand to the parking lot, where they got into his car. I couldn't move, I couldn't speak. All I could do was stand there, devastated, as they drove off into the night. I stumbled back to my car, my thoughts a whirlwind of anger, confusion, and heartbreak. My wife, the woman I had trusted with my life, had been hiding a secret from me. She wasn't working late at the office. She was having an affair. And the worst part, she had been lying to my face every single day. I sat in my car for hours, unsure of what to do. Part of me wanted to confront her right then and there, but I knew I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to hear her excuses or see the guilt in her eyes. I wasn't sure I could even look at her the same way again. The next day, I waited until she came home, trying to act normal. But everything felt different. The way she kissed me, there was no warmth, no connection. I wanted to ask her to demand the truth, but I just couldn't find the words. Instead, I went for the simple approach. I asked, "How was work?" Her response was casual, just like every other night. "It was fine. I'm really tired, though." I nodded, trying to keep my emotions in check. But inside, I was seething, my mind replaying the image of her kissing that man over and over again. That night, as she went to bed, I stayed awake, staring at the ceiling. I had so many questions, so much pain, and so much anger building up inside me. How could she do this to me? To us? I had given her everything, and yet she had betrayed me in the worst possible way. Finally, I made a decision. I would confront her, but not yet. I needed time to gather my thoughts, to figure out what I was going to say, to decide if I could ever forgive her. But one thing was for sure, my life had changed forever. The woman I loved and trusted had betrayed me, and now I had to find a way to move forward, even if it meant letting go of the woman I thought I knew. Drop your thought below, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more anonymous stories.